Yo, what's going on? So today I'm going to show you how to get this picture right here and turn it into this. So obviously, pretty big difference. What we're going to do is we're going to come over here to the just the basic corrections over here. And what I want to do is I want to bring this brightness up a little bit. Basically what I'm going to be doing right here is I'm going to be flattening out the entire image, and then we'll bring that over into Photoshop and we'll replace the sky because blue skies aren't super awesome. And then we'll brighten and darken everything that we need to or what we want to individually, and we're just going to leave the contrast completely alone right here. So let's brighten the image a little bit right here. Bring highlights down just a tad. Bring up shadows, whites, probably about -8. And then the blacks are going to come up quite a bit to 40. Let's do 40. Then what I like to do is I like to add a little bit of texture, bring down the clarity a bit. I know it's a little bit backwards, but it turns out, it works out in the end. Then let's put up the vibrance to 15, just the standard. And then let's take a look before, after. So it looks like it's pretty flat out right now. We don't really have to worry about much blues. If you guys want to change a little bit of color, we can. Let's see what yellow does. I kind of like where the yellow's at. Let's go to green. Yeah, let's bring the greens down a little bit more. And then it looks like bring the aquas down because it affects these colors right here. So looking at that right now, I want to get a little bit more flat, so let's bring up the shadows just a tad bit more, and then maybe a little bit more. Alright, cool. So we're going to work with that right here. We're going to right click, edit in Photoshop 2021, and then wait 10 minutes for it to open up with your image. Alright, cool. Now that we got this photo here in Photoshop, what we're going to do, first thing we always do is Shift, Option, Command, N, creates a new layer. Then you're just going to do Shift, Option, Command, E, and paste that right onto the next layer. Just want to do that so that we're not cropping the background and changing anything and making it so once you get far into editing, you don't have to undo every single little thing you did. And right now, since I automatically don't like the sky, what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to edit, and we're going to do sky replacement. And Photoshop does a really good job at just editing it automatically. And then you can choose your sky. It looks like the light's coming from a different way, and so what we can do is we come over here to this tab right here, just click flip, and look at that. It's looking a little bit better. Might need to scale it up maybe a little bit. Maybe move it this way to what looks good. Alright, I like that. Anything I have to adjust for this, maybe make it a little bit darker to match our image a little bit more, just because it is a little bit underexposed in here. Warmth. No, that was good where it was at. Put that back down to 0. Foreground adjustments. Lighting. Maybe boost that up a little bit more. Match the image color adjustment. Ooh, that was way too much. You guys just kind of have to eyeball what's going on in your image, but this is a super awesome tool to get that sky replaced. And then let's see what screen does. Negative Batman. We don't like that. Alright, cool. So let's roll with that for right now. Okay. Then see how it does everything right here in Photoshop. We're just going to do Shift Command New and a whole new thing. Place that above the sky replacement because we're not working on that anymore. And then I'm going to just label this one Dodge. Then we'll work on a burn here in a second. So let's come over here and we're going to use the Dodge tool to work on all the highlights and everything you want highlighted. So, and what I'm mainly doing right here is everything that the sun's pretty much hitting. So coming over to this side, I want to brighten it up a little bit more. And then everything I want exaggerated, I'm going to exaggerate it right here in these highlights. So I have right here, make sure it's clicked on highlights, and the exposure is at, I usually do about 5%. You can usually maybe put up to 10, 15. It all depends on what you want, but I like to have a little bit more control in what my image is doing. Burn. Burn, baby, burn. So I bring out my burn tool, make sure shadows are selected, and I have it set to 4% right now. I might change that here in a second. And what I'm mainly going to do is I'm going to come to these areas, just make the darks a little bit darker. Contrast what I want to be contrasted. Back here, this isn't really a main area, so kind of shut it out. And then let's get in these cracks of the rock, and then that'll help it accentuate the texture of this right here. So see how I'm getting on the backside in the crevice area where the shadow should be popping a little bit more. Following along this crack right here. Getting right here. Just really helps shape the rock, especially because we're going to add a little bit more or subtract a little bit of clarity, so it's really going to help put this texture and make it a little bit of a dreamy effect. Good, looking good. So now what I'm going to do is make a new layer. And let's grab the selection tool, and then lasso. I'm going to do the magnetic lasso. I'm just going to lasso around this area right here, have it magnet around her. And what we're going to do right now is we are going to add some haze to the image. And so that'll make it look like the sun's coming in, and it looks a little bit more dreamy, and it'll give a nice, pretty glow. Oh no. Come on. There we go. Alright. So now we're going to come back into here, add a little bit more. So zoom. Grab my selection tool. Make sure everything's selected that we need to have selected. Deselect things that need to be deselected. Alright, so what you're going to do is you're going to hit Command J, and it'll bring up the main subject right here. Alright, so what we're going to do now is Shift Option Command N for a new layer. You drag that underneath the main subject, and now we're going to click B for brush, and come over here and select the orange. I already have it selected, and pick a lighter orange color right there. Then we're going to come over to our brush and select about 1600 pixels, I guess. I guess it doesn't really matter too much. Have the hardness lower down to like 23% or so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to brush across right here. And this is just going to represent the light coming in. Alright, yeah, it doesn't look too good right now, but what we're going to do is change your normal, go down to soft light, and it turns it to an awesome glow. And you can add a little bit more in this light right here, so it kind of shows what you want. And then what you do is go to your main subject, and then you're going to hit the little erase thing, and erase the hard lines that you see caused from it. And I have the softness on pretty low as well, just to get rid of the lines. And then what we're going to do is do Shift Option Command New and have the layer above, and then we're going to go back to the brush, and we're just going to do a layer above our subject and right here, just to even out the image. And then we're going to change this one to soft light as well. Then that's what we have right there. Alright, cool. Now that we have all the Photoshop done, what we're going to do is we're going to export this back to Lightroom. So let's go ahead and do that. Save. Just got a few more things to do in Lightroom, and then we'll be done with the final image. Alright, so now that we're in here in Lightroom, let's do this with the... Alright, so now that we're here in Lightroom, let's look over here. We don't really need to mess much with these dials right here, but what I like to do is I want to add just a little bit more texture, take down the clarity just a little bit more. I'll bring down that just a very slight tad, put the midtones back up. That looks a little bit better. Going down to color, might take down the orange a little bit. It is a pretty orange image. Not too bad though. Yeah, let's do that. Alright, that looks good. Then we already adjusted the colors a little bit before. I just wanted to take down the orange a little bit. Now I'm going to come down here to the color grading with the shadows and highlights. I'm going to put the shadows right about here to give a little bit more blue. And orange right here. It is pretty orange, so we see what blue we add to here. Alright, that looks good right there. Just a little bit of blue, nothing too much, nothing too crazy. And then we're done with those colors. What I'm going to do is add a circle mask. I'm just going to bring it into where the sun would be. I'm going to extend that, kind of angle it down just a little bit. And what we're going to do is feather it completely to 100%. And then bring the exposure up to maybe 0.25 or something like that. Maybe bring up the shadows just a hair. And then that should be good. I'm going to add one more circle mask just over Megan here, and just make her a little bit brighter again, or feather up a little bit more. I don't like adding too much adjustments in like this in Lightroom just because I have so much control in Photoshop. But let's take a look at that. Alright, sweet. Done with that, and here is the final image. Alright, sweet. Thank you guys so much for going through the tutorial with me. I will try and keep up to date on future photos so that we can keep editing and you guys can keep learning from me. So if you guys enjoyed this, please like, share, subscribe, do whatever your heart desires. But catch you guys next time.